Micah went on Viall Files, and even though she didn't spill too much tea, she did just talk about her experience on the show. And so she starts out talking about the wedding and how on the day of her wedding, she was crying the entire time, which explains the puffy eyes, because when she was at the altar, that was all I kept noticing, which is really sad. But she said it was because she didn't really feel reassured by Paul, and she was pretty certain that he wasn't going to say yes, so she knew that the end was near for their relationship. Nick asked her about how she felt when she first saw Paul, and she said that she thought he would be bigger, and this is because he did tell her in the pause that he was 6'2", but we're thinking he's around 6 foot. She said 6'1", but I'm like, you wouldn't have noticed it if he was 6'1". I mean, what's a freaking inch? She kind of was like, where's the rest of him? So I'm guessing he's around 6 foot, and he lied and said he was like 2 inches taller, which I think is hilarious. So she talks about Mexico, and she says that the second day they were there, her and Paul hooked up, and it's kind of evident when you see the pool party scene and that her hair is kind of like a wild's nest. And I was like, damn. She was like, yeah, when I was in the show, I didn't really want to talk about that stuff because she wanted the clean girl edit, and her family's watching, but I guess now she just go fuck. And she also talks about the conversation between her and Kwame, and she felt like she was intoxicated and she was overcompensating a little bit because the way that Kwame was talking still indicated to her that he was a little hurt about the breakup, and so she does feel like she was overcompensating, totally acknowledges that it was wrong, and yeah, I mean, she already apologized for the situation. After the show ended, Paul and Micah did date, as we know, and they broke up because she felt like both of their hearts weren't into it anymore. They were cool, though, up until the wedding episode, because he texted her and said that there might be some things that she'll see that she won't be happy with. And she's really confused why they even dated in the first place, because once she did see the wedding episode, she saw his comments about her, not being nurturing and him not seeing her as a mother, and the whole, I won't marry her in a year tomorrow or 10 years. Like, why say all of that if that's not really how you felt? Like, why even date her in the first place? Micah and Irina are still friends, but after the show, she did take a step back from her because she just wasn't sure about her intentions, but she did feel like if she's asking people to give her a second chance, then she needs to do the same. She also didn't really appreciate Zach's comments. Not only did he dig at Micah, but he was also digging at Irina and saying that she only went on the show for fame. And her, defense on that was, we're all on the show. Like, we could find love in different ways. We don't have to find love on a reality show. And he did plug his Instagram like a couple of times. Meanwhile, Irina has been ghost on Instagram for quite a while, even though he did do for charity. And I don't think she saw that then, because they did film this the day after the reunion. But yeah, that was her take on it. Now onto her friend, specifically the butt tap heard around the world. That friend, she just feels like it wasn't on purpose. Like, they didn't even think anything of it at the time. But Nick Viall was kind of like, no, from a guy's perspective of, you don't really need to put your hand down and brush past a girl's butt to get out of the way. And so he was feeding her a little bit of doubt, and she was like, wait, maybe it was on purpose. And Shelby, so she defends Shelby in two places. So at the party, Shelby was obviously very critical of Paul, but she said that her family was at that party as well, and they were asking Paul questions, and he just wasn't delivering the simple questions. What do you like about Micah? He just couldn't give a simple answer for, and so Shelby was like, I just don't think he's the one for you. She also explains the comments at the wedding. So Micah and Shelby watched the wedding episode together, so she got clarification right away. When Shelby said, this is how I wanted it to go, what she meant was she thought Micah was going to say yes, and that Paul would say whatever answer Micah said. So she was nervous for him to just say yes for the hell of it. But when she flipped the switch and it was Paul's decision to make initially, and he said no, she was relieved that it happened in that way. Honestly, she was an asshole. Now onto her edit. So Micah just really didn't appreciate the whole Mean Girl edit. Obviously, it was warranted in certain senses, but with the whole Amber thing specifically, it looked like she was laughing at Amber while she was crying. But if you really look at it, and she did explain it, how in the world would she have known that Amber was crying if Amber was in a room? And there's just no way she could have seen through the wall that Amber was crying. So She was like, the laughing was probably from something else entirely. There's so much filming that goes on, and she just wished that they focused more on her relationship with Paul and them falling in love. You know, they didn't show a lot of things with them, like their date when she had the ring forging thing. You know, that would have been really cute to watch, and they kind of took that out to continue the narrative of her being a mean girl. That was it. She didn't really give any tea at all, which is kind of annoying, other than that she was like pissed off at Zach. But, you know, I just think if she just takes it as a learning experience and she doesn't do that mean girl shit again, I would like to see her in more reality TV, specifically The Perfect Match. I know a lot of you guys are like, get this bitch off my screen, but that's just how I feel.